Stress-Free Cooking is brought to you by... From the sunny Mediterranean comes one of the world's finest olive oils for all your cooking needs. Pompeian extra virgin olive oil, classic Mediterranean, and extra light tasting. Pompeian makes everything better. From our table to yours, O-Pee-Chee Wines. Fine wines and spirits from around the world since 1913. Cutco, the world's finest cutlery. Melissa's, the freshest ideas in produce. And Sub-Zero Wolf Appliances.
Welcome to Stress-Free Cooking. I'm Barbara Seelig Brown. I'm here with my guest, Anthony Giglio. And today we are going to put on our bunny slippers, pour several glasses of wine, and cook a great meal. So the menu that I'd like to cook with Anthony today is going to be complemented by several different varietals. But before we get to that, let me tell you a little bit about Anthony. Anthony, welcome to Stress-Free Cooking.
Thrilled to be here.
Thank you for coming. I met Anthony for the first time at the Aspen Food and Wine Classic, and he was just a delight. You were so entertaining, but educational. And you know, what's better than education that has a lot of fun and life to it?
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished for the Wine Wise Guy. What I'd really love to hear you tell me about is how you came up with the name Wine Wise Guy.
Barbara, I have pretty much over the past 20 years as a sommelier founded my career on making fun of everything I learned when I became a sommelier, because you know, I'm Italian American, I know you are too.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up drinking wine in my house as a kid.
Right.
They called it the spaghetti spritzer,
Yes.
which was a tumbler with some ice, a big splash of red jug wine, and then they floated cream soda on top. I grew up taking this for granted, but so many of my friends never had any wine until they snuck it in,
At the 16-year-old party at the back of the high school or
exactly.
something.
And I think that's crazy. But we all grew up being kind of mystified by wine, that it's this pretentious European or Eurocentric thing that takes a lot of study. And it's true, if you want to be a professional and work in a restaurant, you need to study to be a sommelier. Otherwise, you just have to trust your palate. And that's what I say, we are red-blooded Americans who have the most opinions. I think we're worldly people. We know exactly what we want wherever we go. We can certainly comport ourselves in restaurants. We know how to order anything we want. I can't make you eat a rare burger if you like it well done. I can't make you eat a well done steak if you eat it,
No matter what the chef says.
Exactly.
Right.
So why should you drink wine that someone else says to drink when you might not like it or you might be afraid of it?
That's a really good point.
Drink. I think Robert Mondavi said, "Drink what you like what you drink, and everyone's happy."
Excellent.
So
that's great.
that's what I do.
Well, before we move on to the wines that we like, would you show me the proper way to open a bottle of wine? Because there are so many different ways to do that with all the equipment that there is available. There's electric wine openers, there's, this company has some little gadget, but I still like the old-fashioned waiter's corkscrew.
The waiter's corkscrew. I was going to say, most houses I go to, though, they have the winged...
The rabbit thing?
No, the one that you turn on top and the wings, the
Yes.
arms rise and you plunk down. I don't mind them as long as they have what this is called the worm on any corkscrew.
Mm-hmm.
And on those cheap ones, it looks more like a drill bit. And that actually literally can drill a hole into the cork, and it cracks it open instead of grabbing it.
And does cork fall into the wine?
It'll get into the wine, then you have to use a coffee filter. It gets really messy if you care.
not good.
But this is the greatest kind of model ever, the waiter's corkscrew. It has a little knife on top, and you use that to cut the foil. A lot of my friends drill right through the foil. Here's what you don't want to do, though. If this is a decent bottle of wine, and this isn't plastic, this is actually lead, and it's meant to keep, from tradition, like 200 years ago, to keep vermin from eating the cork out of the bottles when they're in the cellar.
I thought it was to keep the air out.
No.
Keep the vermin out. Okay.
Yeah, because vermin if you're in an old winery in France, you'll see the mice are trying to hop up everywhere and eat cork. But anyway, you take this and you put it under the lip and you turn, and you can see it actually starts to lift. And you do it nice and neat. This is if if you're in front of the Master Sommelier board that they're testing you on this.
They
You want it
test
to be
you on
nice and
that?
neat, and it comes right off like that, and you have a nice, neat
Very nice.
neckline. Right?
So no chance of cutting yourself. I've seen some ragged jobs where it looks like
when
people could actually
yeah,
get
'cause
hurt.
people cut in straight instead of cutting up against the lip.
Okay.
And then we open this up this way, and you hold the tool this way, right? Hold the bottle this way. I see a lot of people doing all this awkwardness. Easy like this, boom, in it goes, let it grab, and all the weight's in this hand, and you just keep turning.
Okay.
And then you're gonna switch the weight.
Now
when you
you're
get-
right-handed.
I am.
I'm left-handed. When I do it, it always looks odd. Did you ever notice that when
I
somebody
never
left-handed?
noticed.
Yeah.
I never noticed. But here's the other mistake I see. Most people stop somewhere around here, and
That's
that's
not
not
far
enough.
enough.
It's not enough to get the lever down. So you have to go almost all the way down. So when you get to the last loop, you actually switch the weight. You let go of the bottle, and now it's all in this hand.
Oh, be
Okay.
careful.
You cock it this way. This should fit perfectly.
Okay.
It clicks, and then you just lift.
And if you went too far, you just unscrew it one loop.
A little bit, right.
Right.
Better to have it gone too far than too
Than
little
not
because you
far
break
enough.
the cork.
Okay.
And then most people jack it all the way out. I actually stop and pull it out by hand so you don't break the cork.
Oh, very
That's it.
nice. Okay, let's start cooking.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to start with our soup. And I know you love to cook, so I'm going to recruit you as an assistant if
Happy
you
to
don't
help.
mind.
Happy to
So a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in the bottom of the soup pan, just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. That way we don't overdo it on the olive oil. It's heart healthy, it's really good for us, but it's still calories, so we're going to be careful with that. So just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. Then what I'm going to do is add some onion, and I have a medium onion that we've diced up, and it's
Does it matter if you use red or white?
onion.
Yeah.
I would prefer to use a white onion in this, but quite honestly, my philosophy on cooking is similar to your philosophy on wine. Use what you like, or use what you
I was
have.
going to say what you have, right.
And
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of keeping my kitchen well stocked so that every time I want to cook, I don't have to go to the store. In fact, on my website, I have a pantry list of things that can help you get through, cooking for the week without having to go to the store as often.
Okay.
So, Anthony, the next thing that we're going to do is, we're going to slide this over here so we both can reach the pot.
Okay.
And I'm going to have you add that cabbage. So we're going to saute the onion for a minute or two, add the cabbage, and, I like to cut everything myself because, if you're talking about freshness and flavor, the more you do at the last minute, the better. If you grate the cheese at the last minute, it's going to be more flavorful, it's fresher. But I also believe in shortcuts for those people that really need a
Right.
shortcut. So if you
Right.
need to buy the cabbage shredded, do that.
Right.
If that's going to get you in the kitchen, go ahead and do that. So we have onion, we have cabbage, and once this cooks for a minute, I'm going to add that hot Italian sausage. But we're going to just give this a second. Now, this soup was something that my husband and I had when we were visiting Courmayeur in Italy.
Okay.
So it's a really hearty dish from the Northern Alps,
Okay.
and it could almost be a meal in itself. Have you ever had this type of soup?
Never. No, I'm
Well,
interested.
we call it in our house Courmayeur soup, but actually it's really called zuppa valpentonese.
Okay. So it's from that
It's from-
Austro-Hungarian part of
yep,
Italy.
Exactly.
Hence the cabbage, which I think throws a lot of people. Fred Plotkin took me to Italy about 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
On a tour of that whole northeastern part of Italy that most Americans don't go to. And we were blown away by the use of cabbage and coriander and cardamom and all the spices that you don't think of in Italian food.
Well, I'm actually going to do a show this season on that region.
Really?
Yes, so in this series, there will be a show on the Alto Adige and Southern Tyrol region because I was fortunate enough to go on a trip there myself. So I'm looking forward to doing that show. But I think at this point, what we'll do is add our sausage.
And you took it out of the case yourself?
I took it out of the case. Some places you can buy it out of the casing,
Right.
bulk sausage, but I couldn't get that yesterday when I was at the store, so I just took it out of the casing. I just slit the casing and zipped
Right.
it right out and
Smells
broke
so
it up
good.
into pieces. Let's go back. While this is cooking down, why don't we go back and talk a little bit more about the wine?
Okay, great.
And
Can we drink it too?
let's taste the wine.
Let's do that. So I get this question all the time. Thanks to people like George Riedel and Max Riedel and what's the other big fancy Irish company?
Waterford.
Waterford. You have all these glasses that I see at all the events I go to, and people say, "Do I really need to have a Chardonnay glass, a Cabernet glass, a Pinot Noir glass, etc.?" And I say, Listen, if you have the space and you are fanatical, absolutely. But
Right. If
honestly,
you like to wash glasses,
exactly. If you like to wash glasses and break them and not cry, but the truth is, all you really need is seriously 2 glasses if you want to be slightly fancy, which is a classic white like this, or a classic tulip shape, and then one that could be a little wider to open up the bouquet in a big red.
Right.
Although some lighter reds like Sangiovese might go well in this.
might be better off in that glass,
But
right?
honestly, if you know you were at my grandmother's house, you'd get a juice glass,
Right.
and it would be perfectly fine as long as the wine is good, the company is good, and the food is good.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. Actually, it's nice to have all those glasses, but you don't have to. And the thing I think is if we're trying to keep this casual, let's not get overly crazy about the glass, right?
Exactly right. You know, at my house party, when I have dinner parties, I put glasses in front of everyone. I put 2 glasses. Doesn't even matter if they match, like the whole set at the table. And I put all the wine out at once, and I say, do whatever you want. You want red with the soup, you want white with the soup, I don't care.
Good.
Have fun, and you'll see people gravitate to what they like, and nobody feels self-conscious.
Well, now, do you find people are willing to try new things? I have friends where she only drinks Chardonnay and he only drinks Cab, and they don't care what they're eating or where they are.
And they're inflexible, though? I mean,
They're totally inflexible.
So I would hijack them. I would pour my wine. I would pour the wine into a decanter, and I would leave the bottle in the kitchen and bring the decanter out and say, "Yeah, it's the Chardonnay," and then see what happens when they taste it and see if you could seduce them into trying something new.
Okay.
That's
so
the fun of wine, right?
it is.
So here we have again beautiful Gavi di Gavi, a classic DOCG Italian wine. Smells to me like crisp minerality, no oak whatsoever.
Right. I
And that's what I'm looking for.
I'm not a huge fan of oak.
People always say, you know, when they hear you, you read those reviews and they say like, oh, I smell apricots and figs and everything else. Do you smell that? And I say, we all have individual thresholds and powers of smell. But what we hope to have is at least some fruit in the wine. We want fruit above everything else.
Well, it really starts with the fruit.
And it actually should carry into it. If you smell nothing but like butterscotch and toasty oak, it's
Then
probably been way over oaked. And that's pretty much out of fashion these days. But that was the predominant aromas in the white wines I studied 20 years ago when I became a sommelier.
Right.
So here I get beautiful crisp minerality, chalky, a slight bit of like maybe acacia flower. But I'm getting super geeky. Let's just taste it, shall we? Cheers.
Cheers. I love the crispy, the minerality, the freshness, and the fruit. And that's what I like in a wine.
We're looking to balance 2 things in white wine, fruit and acid. So when you take another sip with me now, right? And after we swallow, pay attention to the flood that comes across your palate from the sides.
Okay.
And that's all the fruit pouring in. And then from front to back, acidity wipes your palate clean. I call it the Zamboni in wine. It comes right across and cleans it. And every time you take a sip, acidity comes in and cleans it out and gets you ready for the next bite of delicious food.
Oh, great.
And there it is. Beautiful mouth-watering at first.
Oh, yes.
Dries up, the minerality comes in and it tightens. And I say this to everybody when I taste wine with a group of people. If you like this wine by itself, without food, with
You'll love it.
quaffing the wine, you'll love it with food. But if you don't like it, I beg you to try it with anything with fat. No pretty way to say it.
Okay.
Anything. It could be potato chips, a piece of cheese, your pinky in olive oil, bread and butter, a chip, anything.
So
Taste
that
the wine again.
really cleanses your palate.
Well, no, it actually adds a nice layer of fat on the palate, and then you taste the wine again, and it tastes completely different, and usually so much better. If you don't like it by itself, it should taste better with food. But if you like it by itself, it'll only be better.
I love it. I love it.
Okay.
It's a great wine.
That's
It
what I
is
like to
one
do.
of my favorite varietals.
Really?
So I think our soup is coming along. I'm going to add my chicken stock to this now. Homemade chicken stock, whatever favorite brand you have. And we're just going to cook this down for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to put it into these bowls with a nice hearty whole grain bread in the bottom of the bowl.
Do you toast it, or is it fresh?
No, it's like a day old.
Okay,
So
my
you
grandmother
could
used to do that
toast
too.
it, but I think day old works just fine. And we always have bread in our house. We always have day old bread in our house. And when you buy really great artisan breads, they
Yeah.
don't last long.
Right.
You know, so especially if you make your own bread, they really don't last long.
Do you make your own bread?
I do. I love this bread. I didn't make, but I do love to make bread. So what we do need to do, one more thing, is grate some of that cheese. So I have an Asiago cheese that we're going to put on top of this soup. So while the soup's cooking, I can have you.
Can I cut a piece with one of these knives?
There's plenty of knives. Use whatever one you like. Here's our grater. And we need enough to really cover the top of the soup. So we probably need 2 good chunks like that
Right,
grated in. I
put a
guess you
little-
could do it right there.
Okay, great.
Okay?